lady who was bringing him food, and I'm nearly sure one of the foods was a big steak. Can monks eat meat?
Pardon?
There was a picture on the Facebook page, and there was somebody was coming to offer him food, and I think one of the plates was a big steak.
Okay.
Is that okay? Do monks eat steak and meat?
Monks eat food.
Yeah, but do they eat steak? I thought you're all vegetarians or
No,
something.
no, listen to me. Monks eat food. They eat the food that's offered.
Oh, no problem. That's no bother. That's no bother. And I see they do some chanting as well. Now I know you don't talk too much about chanting, but are these all good things?
Mostly it's because I don't want to bore the students with it.
Okay.
You want to hear some chanting? I got some.
Yeah, but is there any benefit to chanting? I never hear you prescribe chanting.
That's because the people that I would prescribe chanting to have no opportunity to learn how to do it. There is very, very little chanting that is available on the internet. And so chanting along with them on the internet would be one of the ways of doing it. In fact, one of the things that could be found would be something like Yipiti so bhagawa araha samma sambuddho icha charana sampano lo gavidu dot dot dot. It goes on. So um, yes, there is chanting. It has several values. One value is that it helps focus the mind. That while you're chanting the Dhamma, you're not having a whole lot of unwholesome thoughts.
Okay, cool. So it's like a kind of
Okay.
another form of meditation.
Well, if you want to call it that, I'll agree that you can use the word meditation for that too. A better way of saying it is that it prepares, that in the evening, the monks will chant for about 20 minutes for the evening chant, and then they will sit for about 20 minutes with the understanding that the chanting helps prepare the mind for the sitting meditation. That you're practicing wholesome thoughts, you're remembering, you're getting the mind focused so that the next 20 minutes will be of great value to you.
Okay.
Okay. The next point about the chanting is that in the time of the Buddha, this was the way that the Dhamma was transmitted, was by the students memorizing a passage, and then after they learned to memorize it, then they would discuss it line by line, word by word, so that the student understood what it was that he had memorized. And that was the main way of learning the Dhamma back in the time when people didn't have books, that you had to rely upon your own memory. This is also part of the reason why the Dhamma is so numerically oriented in the sense of five hindrances and seven factors of enlightenment and eight four noble paths and four noble truths and five aggregates and um, three kinds of feelings and um, 16 stages of anapanasati and 12 steps of paticca samuppada. All of those things are memory aids to help us to remember. But Western Buddhists, when they hear about all of those numbered things, they think that that means that the Dhamma is very complicated. No, those are just memory aids to help the monks remember things that are very easy.
Okay.
All right. And so the chanting has enormous value when it's done correctly. But Bhikkhu Buddhadasa wasn't a big fan of it. But when I got into the United States, I was with a monk named Mahasamsak, who was, uh, he is, let us say, within certain communities in Lao, Thai, and Khmer, that he is the go to guy when it comes to chanting. That he does all of the chanting, and there's quite a history that I have with Mahasamsak, but it was in defense of him that I actually wrote a book on chanting. There's a book out published someplace that it's about 250 pages or so of a book that I wrote in 2008. The name of it is The Complete Book of Pali Chanting. So you can Google The Complete Book of Pali Chanting and come up with it because it's out there online. So when you recognize that I've actually written a book on chanting, you may not have the same opinion that I don't like it.
So, Dhammarato, I know they do chanting and meditation early in the morning, like 6 or 6:30, and the same in the evening time at around 6 or 6:30 p.m. But them times are not, I will not be able to get down there at them times. So, but I'm
That's
still
okay.
presuming there's still plenty of benefit for me going down in between them times when I can.
Right. If you can get there a little bit earlier, 1 p.m. local time is a little late. If you have to be late, I would say 12 would be better, but 11 would be even better than that, and 10
Oh,
would be the ideal time.
right, okay.
Okay, so, and here's what happens that at 10 a.m., people start to arrive. They make friends. This is the time for you to meet people, meet the abbot, see things the way that they are. And then at 11 is when the chanting for the noon meal will start. And then they will do the chanting and then the meal. And then that meal may be a long one. And so if you show up at 1 o'clock, they still may be eating. Or the other thing is after the lunchtime meal, normally in Asia, because of the tropics and histories and all of that, this is the time for people to disappear to their kutis to take a nap. And so if you wind up there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the abbot may just have left and is not available. That's one of the dangers of 1 p.m. If you can arrive a little bit before that, the earlier you can arrive closer to 12 o'clock, the better. So I'd say 12:50 is better than 1 o'clock. This is kind of the critical time. At 1 o'clock, you may not be able to see him because he's gone
That's no
someplace.
problem. I'll stay in there and meditate. No,
Yeah. Or there may
because
be someone there.
I'll be in
Yeah, it
some kind
won't
of
be a dead waste even if he's not there. It will not be a waste even if he's not
yes,
there.
yeah, and I might meet someone, and they might pass on a message for me that I'm interested in the Dhamma, and you never
Mm-hmm.
know. I'll see him another time.
Oh, you never know. I do. I've been there, done that.
Okay, yeah, no, that's brilliant. I'm really, really looking forward to it now, and I really want to get involved there. Like, and what kind of stuff, Dhammarato, will be passed on to me on like from just being around a noble person, like remember we spoke about before people who
Yes.
have no formal meditation or anything, but just from being in the sangha, they become nobles themselves. So what kind of stuff will be happening there, maybe even on a subconscious level, that will rub off on me from being around nobles?
Well, if he's cheerful, then cheer will rub off. If he's happy, then happiness will rub off.
What if he's
He
like
may tell you a
Mahasi?
few jokes. Hmm?
What if he's like Mahasi Sayadaw? Or was it he's Upandita who wasn't so cheerful?
Yeah, but I'm assuming that the guy is a cool dude. I would just go with that. So
Okay, no problem.
um,
So
I would
I
I would assume that.
anyway, Dhammarato, I'm in work. Thanks for the call, and I leave your other Dhamma dude there. Have some time. Thanks. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Dean.
Okay, Dean. Good luck. Have fun at the what?
Well, indeed. Thanks, guys.
So, Kath,
Hello.
you're yes, okay.
Let me. Yes. Hi.
It would be better if you could turn your camera
Oh yeah.
sideways.
It's horizontal.
That's,
Yes, yes. Let me.
you also have it on screen lock, so you need to change the screen lock.
Oh,
Screen rotation.
oh, hold on. Like, oops. Like this?
That's
Oops.
that's the back camera. Okay. Do you have an Android?
Do I have a? Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Hold it vertically. Scroll down with the fingers from the top of the screen, and it'll give you a little menu. And one of the menu items should be screen rotation or screen lock.
Oh, like auto rotate?
Yeah, auto rotate. Okay. Change that, and now change the camera and see if it doesn't. There you go.
Hey, I should be the one who knows this stuff. You know? But yeah, cool. Right. Right.
Anyway, it's good to see you again. I see that you were enjoying what Dean and I were talking about.
Yeah,
Going
yeah.
to the Y. I really encourage people to go to meet Asian monks and whatnot. You'll get a whole lot more value out of that than you will by going to get your Buddha friends on Reddit or someplace.
Yeah, I hope to visit like these places someday and go actually maybe go to Thailand or something and be in it, like really in it. You know, when I get
Well, where
maybe
do you live?
I'll actually, I live in a Buddhist center in the UK, but it's not like have you heard of Kadampa Buddhism?
No, describe it to me.
It's like basically, well, have you heard of Geshe Gyatso Rinpoche?
You use the word Rinpoche, which that clicks. Okay, right. So this
Okay.
is Vajrayana or Tibetan.
Yeah, it's like a kind of a tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, and it's called Kadampa, and it's this modern New Age Buddhism kind of thing, and they have all these centers that you can volunteer and stay at, and um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's it's pretty far out, you know. It's what kind of wild. People would often describe it as like a cultish Buddhism kind of thing, whenever you look it up, um, it's very like modern. I really don't know how to describe it, to be honest. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, it is
Well,
Mahayana.
what you're saying is that it's run by Westerners,
Yes.
not by Asians. Okay, that's the main thing. All right. So the first thing is that they probably hold the Dalai Lama in very high regard.
Oh, they actually are really against the Dalai Lama. I don't know, they're really like it's weird, like the guy who created this Kadampa is really not with the whole Dalai Lama thing, you know? It's
Oh,
like a
really?
yeah, it's like an uprising for Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, but it's like stripped away most of the Tibetan stuff, and he introduced it so modern, like Westerners can understand it. So a lot of this Tibetan stuff is really stripped away, and it's a bit more, I suppose, perceivable for Westerners.
Okay. Well, what I would say, I mentioned the Dalai Lama because the Dalai Lama, we have a video of the Dalai Lama with Bhikkhu Buddhadasa, where the Dalai Lama calls Bhikkhu Buddhadasa his elder brother. The word elder is kind of important there. Okay. So if the Dalai Lama considers Bhikkhu Buddhadasa his elder brother, that uh, points to the relationship between Bhikkhu Buddhadasa and the Dalai Lama, and puts the Dalai Lama with all of the other monks who would consider Bhikkhu Buddhadasa their elder brother or their teacher in a way. But since your crowd there is anti-Dalai Lama, that might not be such a useful piece of information.
Well, they're not my crowd. I'm just volunteered here to be in
Uh,
this place, you know. I don't follow it so much.
okay. To get me oriented a little bit, what teaching do they have that is, let us say, antagonistic to the Dalai Lama, or is it because actually I do know that that there are what 4 or 5 different groups within Tibetan, and the Dalai Lama is only in one of the bigger ones, but there are various older groups. But from what you're telling me, this is a brand new breakoff.
Yeah, this is like 1980s, I think. Yatso started this whole thing actually. Yeah, and he's just been building centers across the world, and they're really wild temples, and it's very based around practices like a lot of puja, it's like a lot of visualization.
Well, visualization is very much part of the Tibetan system. That's why they have tonkas and mandalas, you know.
Yeah. And there's like all these kind of Buddhas like Vajrayogini.
Actually, that's not the right way to look at it. Instead of calling them magic beings, think of them as ideal states.
Yeah. Ideal qualities or something.
Ideal qualities rather than ideal people.
Yeah. Yes. Tara. I don't know. There's quite a few. Honestly, I don't know. I couldn't remember. The protector of Dharma, Daoshin or something, and Heruk.
I don't remember. I never put much attention to all of the names of these qualities and things like that. But I have been to Nepal and saw quite a lot of the art and whatnot.
Yeah.
That in fact, the Vajrayana is the one that I would know the least amount about. I'm pretty big on Zen.
Yes, I have never like been anywhere. Like I only came here because it's the only really available Buddhist thing that was more approachable for me. Because I have no idea
What
how.
city is this?
It's in it's in the Lake District of the UK, so it's near Liverpool, I would say, about an hour away from
Okay. All right, that gives me an idea. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's out in the wilderness, about an hour from Liverpool.
Yeah. I can show you the.
Never mind. I got enough. That's
Oh,
what I was kind of looking. Wow, that's a mansion.
yeah, it's huge, and the temples here are crazy, like big golden temples full of statues, and it's really wild.
Well, that's what happened to Christianity, so I can imagine that's what happens to Buddhism when it gets to the West.
Yeah.
So, what shall we talk about today then?
Yeah. So basically, like, I've just been following your advice very straight up, things actually have been going really nicely in the sense I feel just this like this gladdening every day nonstop has been changing me like almost like fundamentally in a way, like day to day, like when I wake up till I sleep, things are totally different, and there's a lot more control and seeing in the mind and the way I feel. And meditation is becoming a lot more enjoyable when I go to sit. And I've been splitting the sitting actually for like half an hour, a couple of times a day, instead of just this 1 hour where it's not the most enjoyable. Or also like 3 times for 20 minutes a day. It's a lot more beneficial, I feel like. And I do a lot of walking too. But yeah, maybe like there's some things like in terms of meditation, but I also wanted to ask you more life kind of scenarios and stuff, you know, like uh, yeah, like certain obstacles that are more like Westerner obstacles, like
Well, are you talking about the obstacles that you're going to experience there where you are, or obstacles when you're not there, when you're other places? Because they're not going to be exactly the same obstacles.
Well, actually, yeah. I'm leaving here on Sunday because there's a festival and I can't stay. So, um, basically, I have no idea. Like, I could do whatever I want for about a month or so, and I just don't know what is like a good approach to development. Like, what? Because I was thinking, like, wow, like it would be really crazy to just go hitchhiking or something, or travel, or do something that's very like is very confrontational towards your inner development, so to say. You know what I mean? That makes
No,
sense.
I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't. But I wouldn't say confrontational. Maybe um, nourishing would be a better word to use.
Yeah, to be able to really be in it, in it, whatever it is,
Hmm.
like, and to be able to build the character and the understanding and letting go and kind of surfacing up a lot of little like things. Because even thinking about like hitchhiking or something surfaces up like all of this fear and little anxious, terrible, a lot of attachment comes up, like
Hmm.
stuff like that basically. And I wasn't really sure. Like, there's so many possibilities to like workaways or to go to another country and stay and work for food and money and stuff. Um, and yeah, it's like a lot of those things are really. It's really hard to know what's a good um where's
Well, all of those things that you're asking about is what should I do with the outside? When you called me, I'm going to be more interested in talk about what's happening on the inside.
well yes.
All right. By the way, this group that you're with there, do they mention a term like choiceless awareness?
No, I've heard of that though.
Okay, because that's a Vajrayana term. And since you've already mentioned that they do puja and they do tonkas and they do visualizations and all of that kind of stuff, I was wondering if they also did the choiceless awareness or what kind of meditation or what kind of practice or what kind of things that they're doing when they're doing what they're calling meditation.
Their meditation is very strange. They really don't emphasize meditation that much here. It's more very deep rooted in compassion and a lot of wishing, like wishful. There's a lot of wishful prayer um, and hoping and
Oh, like may all beings be happy. Yes, that
yeah,
kind of wishful thinking. Uh huh. Okay. All
I
right.
don't know if you'd call it metta. They never call it metta around here, but it's like that basically.
Oh, what did they call
I don't know. It's
it?
called wish fulfilling jewels or something like that. Wish fulfilling jewel, stuff like that, where you would really recite
Wow,
like,
this sounds like there's a lot of magical stuff
yes,
in this.
oh,
Maybe that's why it appeals so much. Here's one of the things that's very interesting. You're talking about Tibetans. Guess what? In the West, there are very, very few Tibetans. Of all of the native born Buddhists that you'll meet, almost all of them will be Theravada because of the situation in Southeast Asia. So, Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Those are all Theravada countries. Well, there's a lot of Mahayana in Vietnam, but most of those are all Theravada countries. To where Japanese that came to the United States, they didn't come to promote Zen the way that the Thai people. So the main thing is Theravada that you're going to find in the West. But the problem with the Vajrayana is that there is very few Tibetans anyway. That of all the land area of Tibet, it was all so mountainous that the original population was very small anyway. And that of all of the Tibetans, now it's part of China. But even in the 1950s, many of the Tibetans that left They went to India to stay. There has been no mass migration out of Tibet to England or the United States or any of the Western countries. Almost all of the Vajrayana that you'll find in the West are Westerners pretending to be Tibetans, which is not true for the Theravada, because at every Theravada Wat that you'll find in the West, by the hundreds, they all want an absolutely Thai or Asian head abbot. If not every monk in the temple is Asian. But in the Theravada, in the Vajrayana, in the Tibetan, every Tibetan temple or situation that I've ever been in has always been run by Westerners who, at best, just know the names of some Asians.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why we didn't do very much in North Carolina. We had like more than 40 monks, dozens of Wats. The Vietnamese and the Lao and the Thai and the Cambodian and the Vietnamese, Burmese and Sri Lankans all worked together. But there was a Vajrayana temple in Asheville, North Carolina, and that was the only thing in Asheville. And so the Asian people that were in Asheville would want us to come to Asheville. They didn't want this Vajrayana guy because he was an American and he didn't mix with any of the other monks. That's the way that it seems like that even though in Asia, the Tibetans are just part of the group. But in the West, the Tibetans are the odd man out because for them, all of the stuff that happens in the West is all done by Westerners. To where in the Theravada system, all of it is still Asian, except for Western Buddhism. So the Westerners tend to go towards the Westerners where they're not going to find Buddhism or the real Buddha. They go for other Westerners because it's convenient. Just like you wound up where you are because it was a convenient thing to do. Everybody there speaks English.
Yes, that was pretty much the whole thing.
If it was let us say everything was exactly the same except for the people there were the head monks and all were Thai, then that means that Thai language would be the predominant language spoken there. But where you are, the predominant language is English because it's not well represented in the Tibetan language. And so that place that you're at is 2 steps away, not just a whole step away. It's 2 steps away from the Buddha.
2 steps away.
Mm-hmm. And you can see that they've gotten quite magical in their 2 steps.
It's very, very magical stuff, like super magical. It's all wishing and visualizing and praying and reciting, stuff like that,
Mm-hmm. Well, what would you say about the people there that you've met? Do you think that they've gotten value out of doing those practices?
I've observed the monks and nuns here for a long, since I came here, really closely and talked to them. And some, it's very, it's such a variety of character, It's not like one, it's some people just seem like very unhappy. Some people seem absolutely really cultish and very preaching, and some people are very just chill and happy. It's very, there's no it's just people, I suppose. But some people have been here for 15, 20 years and they seem absolutely mentally really in chaos. Some people have been here, you know what I mean? It's very yeah, it's very, I don't know, it's there's no one quality that I can say it's like, or there's no yes, everyone has got a lot of benefit. I don't know.
I would say, based upon the experience that I have seen, is that if a system is actually working and the system itself is what's working, then people who have been in that system for 10 or 20, no, not 10, 20 or 30 years have gotten great benefit out of it. But what you're saying is that people have been there for more than 20 years and they look like their lives are still in turmoil. So whoever has gotten something from that maybe had gotten part of their value someplace else rather than this place.
Yeah, I think that's really spot on for the more older nuns and monks who I've spoken to and had good conversation. Like they had more of a journey to get to where they are. So to say, like they've went through a lot, and people who are just in it immediately, who just like some people here literally only found Buddhism through Kadampa. They didn't know who the Buddha was before this, and this is like these are the people who are more leaning towards a lot of like duality in, kind of thing, feeling of, yeah, you can just feel it, I just feel it like very easily with those people. Yeah, I think so, maybe.
Okay, well, when you leave there the option would be is to go find a better place or to go find a worse place.
So hard to find
or to go find a real sewer to get into. And so what are your plans when you leave there? What are your plans? What you got in mind?
Like this place was amazing for developing certain things, like it's a good environment where I actually practice and talk to you and practice and this, meditate and do stuff like that and work with people and talk with people who are in similar, like a lot of people here who are like my age or so, or just older people are still very like, it's really nice to share things and mirror things to each other and work with obstacles we're both experiencing, like those kinds of, it's good friendships here and stuff. Any place like that is really cool. I don't mind so much where I go, but I have no plans at all. And I'm leaving Sunday, and maybe I will try to go down to Spain. Maybe I will try to, yeah, maybe I will like hitchhike into London and get into Spain somehow. Maybe join another temple down there.
I don't know how much trouble that it would be, but one of the places that you might want to then visit is in Hemel Hempstead. How far are you from there?
Where's Hemel Hempstead?
It's north of London, maybe 100 kilometers or more north of London. The name of the wat there is Amaravati.
Amaravati. I sent them an application actually. I don't know if they replied to me. Amaravati. No, they haven't replied, but I did send an application like 2 days ago, but they haven't replied yet.
Wow, an application.
Well, a volunteer form.
Huh. I don't know what that's about. I have never seen anyone in Thailand ever have to go to a wat but first filling out a piece of paper.
Well, I would hope to be able to stay there, so they need like things about me, like they need to make sure I'm not criminal, so to say, and stuff like that.
Sounds like someone who wrote a bunch of forms is full of fear. They don't want dangerous people there.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate, but never mind. The question is what would happen if you just showed up?
I just showed up.
And they say, well, you got to fill out an application. You say, well, I did fill out an application and I sent it to you already, so you should have my application on file.
Well, as far as I know, they would reply to me by email saying if they can accept me or not to stay there, and they have accommodation there for whenever,
Well, I do know this, that Thai people and the Thai culture has a lot about formal introductions and word of mouth and all of that kind of stuff. That in fact, I had traveled with papers that Achan Po would write out. All in time, I didn't know what it was, but I knew that it was a major door opener. All I had to do was give them that piece of paper from Achan Po, and things were easy. But I don't know how, but that's all with Thai people, and I assume that Amaravati has gotten kind of Western. The last time I was there was, God, it's been 35 years since I was there. That was a long time ago. but Achan Samedo was the abbot at that time, and I knew him from Thailand. So I already had that kind. In fact, I got to Amaravati because of the invitation that I'd gotten from him personally. So I'm not sure how it would be with Amaravati. And there's also down in the south of England, there's Chithurst, which is also associated with Amaravati.
Chithurst.
Mm-hmm. But there are more places. There are more Thai temples. There's several big ones, I understand, in London itself. But I would avoid London because of the city. That, in fact, I like the surroundings that you're at. Being in the forest, being in a garden, is very conducive to good practice.
Yeah, I'll search. I think these Thai temples. I guess. Yeah.
And then there's the possibility. I don't know what's available in Spain, but you do have Plum Village and some stuff in France.
I sent them one too. Haven't replied. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, one of the things about these Western places that are quasi-Asian is that they're still dealing with COVID.
Yeah.
That COVID is still a big deal. It's still a big deal here in Thailand that people still wear masks out in public. So that's also affecting the various Wats and temples throughout the entire West. That many of them have been closed down literally for 2 years or more because of the COVID. And in that regard, it's always the lay people who run the temple anyway. That in fact, one of the things that I remembered was that at Amaravati, there was a lot of Sri Lankan people there. That there's a heavy Sri Lankan influence, even though it's Thai, it was set up by Ajahn Chah, but there just happened to have been a lot of Sri Lankan people, and so they started to go to that temple, and it took on a Sri Lankan kind of a flavor. But in any case, whether they're Thai people or Sri Lankan people, the lay people are the ones who run the Wat. Monks are always just guests. And a monk can pack his bags and walk right out almost any time of the year, all except for Panza, but that's a different point. But in that regard, the monks really don't own the property. They don't have any say-so. They're guests there. And all the bills are paid and all the money is exchanged and all of that is done by lay people. And that's true here in Thailand, too. So I don't know what's happening with Amaravati now because it's been run by lay people for all this time.
I would say things have changed in 35 years down.
Oh, really? Well, well, 35 years ago I was 40 and now I'm 75 and I haven't changed a bit.
I was 10 years still somewhere.
Uh-huh. Okay, so the kind of question I'm kind of looking at the kind of question that you're asking. Can you be more specific about what your question is? Because you've already been looking around and finding the places, and so you're not looking for addresses from me. What are you looking for?
just like just to deal with the development of getting out of certain beliefs, systems, and patterns about yourself that really feel like they can only be approached by going out into the world and seeing them as they are and actually being able to deal with them full on. In other words, like to be more direct, to be able to be look and get what you want, see things, be able to carry your own shoes, like develop this character's kind of self, to be able to be structured by yourself, to be able to be developing really rooted in your own shoes out in reality, like the world, society, so to say. As I've been here
Okay.
for a while, I feel like I've got really far in terms of feeling like that within myself, despite what's happening outside. So I want to actually go outside and have a more direct experience that isn't,
Give me an example.
yeah, so like just traveling down and traveling alone, so to say, for a while and seeing how that goes and meeting people and developing relationships and having more emotional bonding with people, things that I haven't really actually had in life, like relationships, yeah, like a lot of relationships with women or friends and family. I didn't have that so much growing up. So this feel like it's just so out of my experience that I feel like I should go towards it and see what's really there. Because,
All right.
if that makes sense.
Well,
Like,
I have a one-word answer for your question now.
okay,
A one-word answer, but it may take a bit of discussion. Okay. The one-word answer is smile. That's what you want to do every time that you remember that wherever you go, because if you're going to be traveling, that means that you're going to be in constant turmoil, constant flux, constant wherever you are is unfamiliar. And not only that, but you're not going to stay there long enough for it to become familiar. You're on your way to some other place that's unfamiliar.
I would still love,
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So, if you are in that mentality, then there's going to be some trepidation and some fear. Another way of doing it, though, is to not travel with trepidation and fear because of the unknown and the fear of the unknown. You can travel with enthusiasm. And that's what I'm inviting you to do, is to smile, to have some enthusiasm for your travel, to see everything as a brand new adventure, that nothing is really dangerous here. You might get yourself into an interesting situation, but you can get back out of that interesting situation into another interesting situation. That's easy enough to do because, after all, you're traveling. You can walk away from anything. And so this is the way that we would approach this, is do it with enthusiasm, not in the sense of looking for something, but finding many, many things.
mm,
Because you're out traveling, there's going to be a lot of unknown things, a lot of new things to be developed, a lot of new friends to meet. And the best way to meet those people is with a smile and enthusiasm. You don't want anything from them. You're there to spread the joy that the people in the temple that you're in now wish for.
mm,
That would be the way that I would approach it, okay? Is to have that mindfulness, to remember that that you're in charge of the situation. You're the one who chose to go travel. You're the one who showed up here. You're the boss here and have been all along.
yeah.
And get that confidence going so that you're confident at traveling. Why? Because everybody you meet is a friend. You don't meet enemies. And so you meet everyone with a smile. And you can easily make friends like that. If you bring a smile and enthusiasm to your travel, you'll get enormous benefit out of it. So
Yeah.
will others.
And what do you think about being able to continue practice and like reading or being able to practice during traveling, so to say, like
Well, when you're traveling, you're normally on a transport, like on a bus or a train or an airplane, something like that. That's an excellent opportunity to travel, to practice anapanasati while traveling, mindfully breathing in and out while feeling the bumpy ride that you're on. Okay?
Yeah.
Become aware of what's happening around you. Pay attention to the outside senses rather than paying attention to the outside intellectually, which is actually inside. A lot of people are confused about what's inside and what's outside. But the reality is that what's outside is what comes through your senses, the things you can see, the things you can hear, the things that touch, the bouncing of the train, the clicky clacky sound of the train, the movement of the stuff outside the windows. This is all real. Thinking about where you're going is not. That's just conceptualizing because you're going someplace you've never been before. Like, for instance, going to Spain, you think of going to Madrid. Well, maybe you've seen a photo of Madrid, and that's all you know of Madrid. And so we've got we've got images of photos that we have in our mind, and we think that's Madrid. No, that's not Madrid. You won't know Madrid until you get there. And when you do, Madrid will be expressed through the things you see, the things you hear, the touch of the cloth, the feelings around you, the reality of the situation. And so when you're in Madrid, experience Madrid instead of thinking about going to Barcelona. In other words, be where you are now. Be there openly, enthusiastically, with a big smile on your face. And you'll enjoy your travels.
Yeah, most of this was like the whole intention is kind of, it's like as if everything is everything is in the context of what I can do for like the spiritual development, so to say. And I feel like, I don't know how important it is to do this, but I feel like it's very important to be able to go through this experience, like because of the my life, so to say, that I have to go through this experience because of the life I had, and go out that get out of this chamber of it's almost as if I'm certain things I hold on to are just always there is because I have never experienced things in life that should be experienced, like good relationships and to be able to move around and ask people, go to be able to talk to strangers. Like I was super like very isolated and like beat down, so to say, where I was growing up. So to be able to go around, to be able to talk to strangers, be really open and get out of this shell that I was.
That sounds marvelous. I really highly recommend that you do that. I very highly recommend that people do travel. That people who stay in one place their whole life only know that one place.
Yeah.
And that I would say, having been a traveler and done a lot of travel, that it's valuable. I learned more about the United States by being out of the United States than I ever learned about being in the United States.
Mm.
Why? Because I saw alternate ways of doing things, alternate ways of living. But you're also going to, in those travels, meet an awful lot of unhappy people.
Yeah.
And your job is to not allow their unhappiness to encroach upon your joy and enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I see sometimes people suffering changes my behavior in the sense, like, you know, I've actually, you say sometimes that, I don't know exactly what you said, but something about having sugar, enough sugar to be able to give it to everyone and not get affected by their suffering, or like don't get caught up in their thing as if it was real in your experience,
Mhm.
or more see it
Mhm.
as it is, be able to, it's compassion or something. I think you said it was, it's like deep compassion is actually having enough sugar to be able to give those people who are really unhappy some sugar too, or something like that. I don't know if that was what you said.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds correct. Exactly so. Right. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Hmm.
Okay. And that one song is actually quite valuable to understand that we don't want to take our medicine. We don't want to see what's real. We resist it. And so offering that teaspoon of sugar will help the medicine go down when you start living Dhamma in front of them. They can see it because they can see the results of your Dhamma is joy and enthusiasm.
Hmm.
Now, that joy, or another word for joy, would be, in fact, the word delight. In the Pali, there's two words for delight. One is nandi, and the other one is rato. So nandi is delight, to become delightful and delighted with your travels, because your travels are the Dhamma. Become delighted with the Dhamma, joyful and enthusiastic or eager for it. These are signs of good practice.
Yes.
Joyful, exuberant, enthusiastic, delighted. These are the results of good practice. Not the final results, but an excellent intermediate result.
Yeah.
And so that's my best advice for you. Smile,
Smile. Okay.
smile. Smile at the ugly, smile at the beautiful, smile at the ordinary. If people ask you for money, give them money and smile. If they ask for your advice, give them advice and smile. If they ask you to take a hike, smile on your way out.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Um.
That'll keep you out of trouble a lot.
So I don't know how it's gonna go, but I mean, I have nothing else to do but to see it when it happens. You know, no worries.
Well,
So I'll
there's a younger child in me who wants to go with you,
come.
but the old Dhamma dude wants to just sit here and hear about it.
Yeah. I mean, I look at people like you and your qualities, and so to say, and your like the way I feel about you, and that's who I want to develop towards, to be able to
Well, you're
become this.
already there. You've already got it. Congratulations.
Uh,
You're
okay.
already a Buddhadasa.
Well, I've only begun reading Bhikkhu Buddhadasa's books in the last couple of weeks, so I think I've just feel like I've just maybe my just started like stepping up very long mountainous stairs that seems to be like covered in mystical
But it's
fog.
not a long mountain of stairs. It's just this step.
Just this.
It's
Well,
just
yeah,
one step. Just take this step. And if you
yes,
find another step, then take that one. But don't visualize in your mind about a whole great long set of stairs there, because you don't know. It's not
right.
daunting. That's the attitude of a victim. The attitude of a winner is, oh, I can take another step.
Mhm. Yes, exactly. Okay.
Why should you worry about feeling as good as I do when you already feel that way right now anyway?
Uh,
The path is that easy, just one step at a time. This step, That's the only thing that we have to deal with is this one.
This step. Yes.
This step. Take it happily. Enjoy the practice. Watch where you're stepping.
I feel like this advice is or this understanding of one thing at a time, or what's there, is if I can really hold that in mind when I'm traveling. I know, like, I've really thought about that. It's so, like, that has been so, like, ripening experience. Like, it's really ripened this, just what's here now, like, one thing at a time is really nice. So curious what's gonna happen when I go to travel, you know?
What ripens is the sammā sankappa. What ripens is our attitude. What ripens is that our confidence that we can do this.
Yes.
We can do it. You can handle it. You can go travel and meet the world and have fun doing it enthusiastically with a big smile. You can do it.
Can I ask you something about play?
Yes.
Because this
Please
has been.
do. Play.
Ooh, this might get a bit noisy. There's a big ass crane coming right now. Yeah, it might get a bit noisy. Yeah. Oh my god, I might die here. There's a.
Well, we can play with it. No, it's not so noisy for you've got good sound canceling, I think, on your. So now it's.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone here in this place really reflected, like, they really were almost a mirror when they were, like, super playful. They were acting very playful, and I inside myself was like, whoa, I feel really resisting this part of me, like this playful child. And I started to really investigate what is that feeling. It's as if I started to really investigate. It's like, wow, I really can't play. Like, I cannot play, and it's like this is such a struggle. Like, it's almost like I'm not allowed to play, and it's like a super unbelievable restricting feeling where all of this, like, very embarrassing, do not be seeing, worrying what people think, feelings rush into me, and it's like, don't do that, don't do that. I so deep down, deeply want to learn how to play again, because I started to remember, wow, when I was a child, I was so playful, and then throughout my life, I started to, like, get beat down into taking things extremely seriously, and, like, pushing this part of me away that's desperate to be, like, come out again, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's okay. So getting that playfulness back is done with the enthusiasm, with the joy, and also to remember that it's okay for you to play. Yes, the playfulness was beaten out of you before, but that people who beat it out of you are not around anymore. They're not there. You do not have to follow their rules. You can be playful now. You're the boss here. So the thing to do before you leave, you're going to haven't left yet, is to go seek this guy out that's playful and talk to him about playfulness and see what he has to say. Go use him as a mentor.
Mm.
Allow him to be playful and show you that it's safe to be playful.
Yes,
He may
yeah.
not know what you're talking about because he was naturally playful.
Yeah,
Because he never had it beat out of him. But the likelihood is that he is revisiting because he felt that way too. That's very common in our culture for the playfulness to get beat out of us.
yeah. Yeah, I think I should really try to be around people who can play and learn from that. I mean,
Yes, if you can't seek out nobles, at least seek out people who are playful.
Yes, well, that's the best
because
thing.
they're on their way to noble. One playful step at a time.
Ooh.
Ooh, so this has got the same theme, isn't it? It's very interesting. Yeah, the one word that I gave you, and we've been talking about it for about an hour, has to do with smile, play, enthusiasm. And now you're telling me that you've got a really good example. So go spend some time with him. Let as
Yeah.
much of his playfulness as possible rub off on you so that you've got a week or more supply, but when you leave the place.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. There's quite a bit to work on, but it's really just what you're saying. Like, there's just one thing to do in a sense. Is this moment, smiling in this moment, step and step. But just yeah, it's not so.
That's all we've got. That's the only thing that's important is being alive right here, right now. Nothing else is important.
Yeah, and I can see it will take more time for me to understand, like to get into a point where maybe meditation can take more, or anapanasati, I can more understand it because I can see it takes it's quite a developmental thing maybe to understand it more and more and more, like how anapanasati works and meditation, the jhanas. I think it's going to unfold more as I become
So
happier.
the unfolding comes with the skills. And
Yeah.
we've got 4 primary skills to develop. One is to remember, to look, to investigate. Number 3 is to make a change. Number 4 is to congratulate yourself for the change. That's an easy way of talking about it, is to pay attention to what you're doing and then gladden the mind. Brighten it up, put a smile on, put some enthusiasm in it, and say, hey, I can do this. We practice those things over and over and over again with great repetition. And out traveling is a really good opportunity to do it.
Okay.
Those are the skills, just those 4 skills. Get them up to skill level.
Right.
Being a loser is a bad habit. Being a winner is a skill. Joy is a skill to be developed. Happiness is a skill to be developed. Satisfaction is a skill to be developed.
Take some time. I'm really quite a lot of
Well, do
faith
it again. Do it again. It doesn't take a lot of time. You just do it again right now. I'm getting you out of that habit. Don't look at it as off in the future. Look at it right now. This is it. You can do it. I know you can do it.
Right on. Okay.
See that little subtle swip from always in the future, I don't have it now, I'm poor me, I'm a victim, into, hey, I got it. This is it.
Okay.
So the final advice is go make friends with this playful guy. Learn a couple of things from him. I'm sure he's got something to teach you.
I will. I will see how it goes. I'll talk to you after I travel. I don't know where I'll be next Thursday, but I'll also have to hopefully be able to be up.
All you need is an internet connection, and I hear that those are easy enough to come by. So we'll see you next week.
Okay. Thank you, Dhammarato.
This has been great. This has been really great. I've really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much. Learned a lot too.
Cool.
We'll see you.
I'll see you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.